Welcome back to Boots and Bounty Homestead. If you caught my last video where we opened up the grow light and got it set up, this is part 2. So we've got to get some seeds under that sucker to get them start growing. Well, if you have been gardening any time at all, or especially if you're new to it, doesn't really matter, information is information, you'll know that right after Christmas, everybody starts planting their gardens, and there are certain seeds that we start now and transplant next month. There are some seeds we start now and transplant 4 months from now. And there's some that we wait a couple more months before we get them started to transplant them outside for the summer. So after Christmas, you're in a rush to figure out what you're going to plant for the year, when to start it, if you're starting from seed, if you're starting from seed outside, if you're going to buy new plants. It's just so much information. Well, today I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing, just to simplify it, because we don't go all out. We don't do a whole bunch of experimental or exotic or rare things. We stick to the basics. And so if you are around 7B, 7A, 7B, even 8A, and some 6B can fall into this category. We're starting our brassicas. And we could have started our brassicas starting right after Christmas, that week between Christmas and New Year's. That would be the earliest that we could start our seeds indoors. So now we're coming up to looking at the dates for our last frost date for this year. You can Google that if you want to Google, say, last frost date for zip code such and such. So you go ahead and you put that in, and it'll give you an estimated frost date. We get about 2 weeks play around that date, before or after, that we can go off of to transplant our transplants outside. Most seeds are going to, the ones that you don't plant in the ground, so like carrots and radishes and stuff like that, because you don't really want to transplant those. Root vegetables need to go on the ground and stay in the ground, not transplant them. What we're planting is going to be the fruiting vegetables, like our cauliflower, our cabbage, and our broccoli for the spring season. So I'm going to go through that with you guys and show you how we're going to do that. Well, you see here in front of me, I've got different trays. I've got a 72 cell, which I just got this one at Walmart because that's the only one they had last year. And I had to go get some grow trays. So this is the only one they had, so this is what I got, and this is what I'm going to use. Also, if you don't want to buy the trays, you can get these trays for free because they're just going to throw them away. You can get the trays that they're stored in because a lot of times they don't have holes in the bottom of them. And if they don't have holes, then you can use those and you can get those for free for them as well. But you can use those as your watering base for your containers that you plant in. Now, you see there's different sizes. This is just your basic, I'm going to start some seeds and see how it goes kind of thing. These are not meant to be used for seeds that are going to need any more than probably 4 to 6 weeks, if that. That is like the most time in these cells, because they're only going to get as much nutrients as it has in this cell. And once it runs out of nutrients, it's done. They're going to start turning yellow. They're eventually going to die because you can't give them the nutrients that it needs. You've got to get them out of here and plant them in something bigger if it's not time for them to go outside yet. If it's time for them to go outside, you need to get them outside ASAP and get them in some fertilized dirt. This is meant for bigger plants, and I'm going to put my broccoli and my cauliflower in here because I need to get them at least 3 to 4 inches tall, and I'm going to see how they grow under this grow light. So this is going to be for a single plant in each one, and they've got to get a pretty good size for them to be able to go outside and be cool, tolerant. There's different kinds. Now, if you want to do something like this, this is going to be for something that doesn't get very big, and you can possibly put 2 in here, 2 on each side. Then they go up into stuff like this, where this will be bigger. Now, if you have to, you can take your plants out of these cells and transplant them into this to give them more nutrients if you need more time before you can put them outside. Bonnie does not take their stuff back and reuse it. They'll just come and they'll take everything off the racks that they have them on, and they'll take their racks, but all of like this stuff, it gets thrown away. They don't reuse it. Just ask first, don't be taking everybody's stuff. But around here it's free. They don't reuse it. And on to the next thing. This is going to be our seed starting mix. I have started seeds and everything has come up. There's just better germination rate in some things more than another. This is called Pro Mix, and I got this at Walmart. Pro Mix, it's already a moisturized potting mix that is suitable for seed starting as well. And it'll say on here, it's for seed starting, for potting and repotting plants, and flowers, herbs, and containers. So what this is it's a nutrient-based potting mix for container plants. This is not what you put out in the garden, to help your soil or anything like that. This is strictly for containers like this to provide plants nutrients to grow. And I've already used these, and what happens with these, they're so thin that once you put your plant in there and then you go to squeeze it out, these actually crack. So this is not meant to be used long term. We've got a tray here, and what this is going to do is these are going to sit in here like this. Like this. And starting seeds, it may be a little hard to water them. Especially one, if they're inside, because you don't want to get water everywhere. And two, you don't want to uncover them out of the dirt that they're in. And I'll give you a little bit of seed information once we get to that point. So with these trays, we bottom water. So we'll pull this over to the side and we'll water under here, and then it's going to bottom water. And so it's going to soak it up from underneath the little holes in the trays here. As it dries, it will suck the water up in there, and it's going to moisturize it and keep it exactly the right moisture for that seed to be able to germinate. Now you can overwater them to where they are sitting in water. You only want it to go at least halfway up the tray, no more, because once the roots start growing and they get too deep in the dirt, that's where you get your watering problems, where they're sitting in water all the time. They do have to have air. So you can't just keep pouring water and filling it all the way up to the top and thinking you're doing it good. You're not, because like I said, it will drown. But as long as you keep it at least halfway up this tray, and you may not even have to do it once a week, but just check it every so often, and make sure that your water level has not run out, because you don't want them to dry up, but just keep it half of the depth of the tray. Let me go ahead and put these in the tray here. Let's see. Oh, these are perfect. Look at there. All right. So I got 6 of these trays. 6 and 6 is be 36. And see if there's an easy way to open this thing. All right, we're going to fill these up. So I got my cup here. This is already pre-moistened, and it's packed in here pretty tight. Just use your hands and kind of break it up some. Because the roots are going to need some air, and they've got to be able to expand and grow. So I'll be right back with you. So we've got these filled up with dirt. I left them under the rim just a little bit. And as you see, I was pouring them in, and I took my fingers and just kind of patted it just a little bit, because whenever you pour them in, there may be some air in the bottom, so you don't want your roots to find air. I didn't compact it. I just kind of packed it down just a little bit, just tamped it just a little bit to make sure there wasn't any air, and if it was, that we pushed it out the bottom. So you can see here, I don't have them all the way full, because any seeds that we have to cover with just a little bit of dirt, I want to be able to do that. The rule of thumb for planting seeds is twice the depth of the width of the seed. The reason why you don't want to cover them up or plant them too deep now is because they do have to have the energy to come out of the dirt. Small seeds have a limited amount of energy that God created them with. And if you plant them too deep and they don't find the sun, by the time they run out of energy, they won't germinate. You will not have plants come up that should have, if they were good seeds. I don't get caught up in all the rigmarole of organic and heirloom and all that stuff. If a seed makes me food, it's good enough for me. Now, I will tell you with the hybrids, with hybrid seeds, you're not supposed to save those seeds if you want the same thing for the next year. You don't know what you're going to get if you keep a hybrid seed. And hybrids are more disease resistant, especially with like tomatoes. So a seed's a seed, a seed's a seed. It doesn't matter to me. And if you are in a spot and you have to keep a hybrid seed, go for it. You're going to get something. Something's better than nothing. So if these come up to where they have 2 or 3 in a cell, and I see that it's getting too far along for them to share one, you can go ahead and take another one of these and just gently break them apart, and then put about half of this dirt in the tray, set that on top, and then just fill it on up and just lightly tap it down. And then I'll have to fill up another water tray to keep them watered. So don't fret if you have both of them come up. If neither one of them come up, wait at least 3 weeks before you give up on them. And if they don't come up, just throw you a couple more in there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is a very first for me. And actually, I asked my dad. He said he'd never done it either. And that's going to be for some onions. It does take 150 to 170 days to harvest them. You have to plant the seed and it start to form a bulb. That'll be your set. So you'll take that from here and plant it outside, and the onion will continue to grow from there. We're already 2 weeks in, so we're about between the 150 and 170 day range. So we have to get these in the dirt so they can produce the slips that we can transplant outside. And it'll be around the 1st of April. And that way they will be hopefully big and beautiful around July 4th. And we can harvest all of them and get them curing. That's got it. If you needed this to act like a greenhouse outside, you could take and go ahead and do this normally like we're doing now. Fill it up with water underneath and use this as a greenhouse and put this over. Once you see the first signs of little green heads poking out, you need to either take this off, depending on the temperature, or to prop it up or lean it back or something, depending on what they are and what temperature it is outside. So that's a possibility too if you don't have a grow light, that you can do this outside and use the top. Well, now that I've got the grow light, I want to do a little experiment and see if I can grow these radishes, grow them year round. Fingers crossed. All right. Now, the most important thing we need to do next is label these. All right, so for plant markers, there are a ton of different ones. These you can get real cheap at, dollar store, and write on those. I found these at the farm supply store, just the straight markers. So anything that you can write on, if you have anything extra like that, it's just an idea to repurpose something that we would have otherwise thrown away. On one side, I'm going to write what it is, and the other side, I'm going to write when I planted it. All right, so we've got each of them labeled. So let's transfer these in there to the grow lights and get some water on them and get them growing. All right, so since these trays are so flimsy, this is not very heavy, but it's just big and wobbly. I used a cookie sheet, just one of my old cookie sheets, to transfer these trays in here. Let's turn it on. I may have to turn them sideways. Let me go get the other ones. Be right back. All right, here's the last tray. I don't have two of these. I might get another one. Next we got to do is water them. I'll be right back with a pitcher of water. And what you want to do is pull this back where you can pour directly in the tray. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit, start absorbing the water, and then I'll come back and check on that. So I'll check on these in a little bit. You can see this water level right here. It was up to here and it's already gone down about 1/4 of an inch. All right, well, I guess that's all I need to show you right now. I will be giving you updates, probably weekly, or whenever I start seeing some action in here, I'll do a video and give you an update. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because I post things over there that I don't necessarily have time to make a video on. I'll just post a picture or something, some kind of update. So make sure you follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And I guess that's it. So until next time, guys, we will see you later. Bye. All right, y'all, quick update. This is the next day, and I now have 2 of these. We've got them covered. Happy growing, you guys.